Adiola, please, help me. The lock did not turn. Instead, she heard Adiola's voice from the other side of the door. She wanted my rich husband. Sempe froze. She wanted him so badly that it kept you awake at night. Now, you can have him. No, please, I don't want him anymore. I don't want him. You can have him. I just want... Trouble has landed, oh. Not small trouble, oh. Mbano. This one is the kind of trouble that wears bone straight hair and smells like expensive perfume. Besties, this is a story about a very beautiful Lagos girl named Sempe. When I say beautiful, I do not mean the normal, regular fine. No, I mean the kind of fine that can cause accidents on Third Mainland Bridge. Sempe was tall, slim, with smooth skin and a sharp jawline, plus 2 bright eyes that did not blink carelessly. If Sempe walked past you on the road and you did not turn to look, please check your pulse, because definitely something may be wrong. Her beauty was a talk of Simbi Street. Even women who did not like her could not deny it. This girl can pass for an international model, they would say. And they were not lying. But there was a problem. With all that beauty, Sempe refused to work. She believed something deeply and seriously, that she was too beautiful to suffer. My skin is allergic to stress, she would say confidently, adjusting her wig in the front of her mirror. And truly, she lived like a president's daughter in one of the finest duplexes on Simbi Street. Clean compound, flower pots arranged like an Instagram background. She drove a fine portable car that purred softly when she pressed ignition. Her wigs, always expensive. Her bags, designers. Her perfumes, the kind that entered a room before her. At this point, I know what you are thinking. What exactly does Sempe do? Where is the money coming from? Don't tell anyone I told you. People's husbands. Yes, that was her job description. She lived off people's husband. And not just any kind of husband. No, Sempe had standards. High standards. She did not waste time with small boys that still borrowed money for fuel. She targeted wealthy men. High-profile men. Businessmen, politicians, estate owners. Men who could sponsor her lifestyle without blinking when she said, I want. And these men were not difficult to get. Not when Sempe was involved. She knew her formula. One slow smile, one steady eye contact, one soft sip of wine, a little flesh, not too much, just enough to confuse the brain, you know what I mean. Her sweet floral perfume doing background work. And that was it. And once a man tasted her honey pot air, he was finished, like totally done for. Some people said she added sugar to her pum-pum. Some said it was honey. Others said it was jazz. But who knows? All we know is that the thing was too sweet. And men who entered did not return the same. As for marriage, please. Marriage was not for Sempe. It was not amongst her goal. She didn't want to cook or submit to any man. She also didn't want any commitment. Being a side chick was enough. And in fact, she preferred married men because married men don't disturb with emotional talk. No pressure, no promises, just enjoyment and huge transfers at the end of the day. And the funniest part, many of those married men treated her better than their wives. She got more gifts and more attention. That alone boosted her confidence. And no matter what people said or thought, Sempe never saw anything wrong with the kind of life she had chosen to live. To her, she was the smartest woman alive. She believed she was simply using what she had, beauty, to live soft. And on Simbi Street, her name carried weight, not respect but power. If Sempe looked at your husband twice, you would enter prayer and fasting immediately. That was the kind of girl she was. Beautiful, bold, proud and living large, funded by other women's tears. Everybody on Simbi Street knew her. If her beauty did not pull your attention, her drama would drag it by force. Because being a side chick at her level was not a child's play. It wasn't this small relationship. We are talking about high budget chaos. Some days were peaceful, other days explosion. There were times a wife would storm into her compound without warning, gates banging, slippers flying, wig almost falling, shouting so loud that even the next street could hear. Sempe, come outside. And trust Simbi Street. Curtains would shift immediately. Windows would open small. Balconies would fill up. Nobody wanted to miss episode 47 of Husband Wars. Sometimes it ended in a shouting match. Sometimes insults flying like table tennis balls. Other times, curses so loud that you would think thunder wanted to join. But there was one incident. That was the day Simbi Street almost sold tickets. One wealthy man, married with children, respected in church, left his house completely and moved in with Sempe. She had used her beauty and honey pot to pin him down. Just like that, this man packed his clothes, abandoned his family, moved in with her, and they began living like husband and wife. Openly, with no shame. The wife tried to endure it at first. She called him on the phone. She begged. She cried. But he refused. He said he had found love. Finally, one afternoon she came, with pain and anger. She stormed into the compound, and before anyone could blink, she fell on the ground, rolling and screaming, her voice breaking. Please leave my husband for me, oh, Sempe. Sempe, release my husband from your witchcraft coven. When Sempe came out to see what was happening, the woman held Sempe's leg, her tears soaking the tiled floor. The whole street gathered, children, old women, even men pretending they were just passing by. Sempe, she stood there, arms folded, her hair shining with her fresh lip gloss, laughing. Not small laughter, a very loud mocking laughter. See me see trouble, madam. If you cannot hold your husband, why are you holding my leg? The crowd gasped. Some women covered their mouths, others shook their heads. Child, this girl has no heart. See what she is doing to her fellow woman. But Sempe did not care. She was enjoying it. The attention, the power, the control. To her, it was proof. Proof that she was beautiful enough to take anything she wanted. And after that day, the women of Simbi Street began monitoring their husbands like CCTV cameras. Phones checked, location tracked, unexpected surprise visits. Because if Sempe ever looked at your husband twice, consider it emergency. And here was the most dangerous part. If Sempe told you, I will collect your husband, it was not a threat. She was just giving you an information. And she delivered. Always delivered. So people avoided her, smiled at her in public, whispered about her in private. They feared her confidence and hated her boldness. Sempe had good friends who had tried talking to her. Sempe, this lifestyle won't last. Put yourself in these women's shoes. Her cousin even advised her, start something. Build something for yourself. Beauty does not last forever. Even her own mother sat her down one evening. My daughter, make something meaningful out of your life. This was not how I raised you. But Sempe flipped her hair. It is not my fault that I am beautiful. She shrugged. Men are the ones disturbing me. I am just living my life. Her mother looked at her long and hard that day. One day, you will find that thing you are looking for. Sempe scoffed immediately. What does a village woman know about Lagos life? And she walked away with glow and confidence. In her mind, she was untouchable. On Simbi Street, she was not just a girl. She was a star. Every morning, while other Lagos women were rushing to beat traffic and shouting at downfall drivers, Sempe was stretching lazily on her king-size bed. No alarm panic, no boss calling, no office stress. Her real office was her phone. The moment you saw Sempe scrolling endlessly, zooming in and out of pictures, smiling to herself, just know she was working. Serious work indeed. She did not just look at men randomly, no. She studied their wives first. That was her system. If the wife was glowing, the husband must be loaded. If the wife's wig was premium, not inspired by, but original, bone straight, that was a green flag. If the wife stepped out of a brand new SUV and the interior matched the exterior, that was another green flag. If the house background in photos showed marble staircase and chandelier, she would lean back slowly. Confirmed. That was enough data for her. She doesn't need CAC registration. She doesn't need bank statements. The wife's lifestyle told her everything. Once she made up her mind, she would call her right-hand man, Sule. Sule was her intelligence department. He could find a man's favorite restaurant, travel schedule, business partners, even the gym he attended. Within days, full profile would land on her phone. Then she would smile. Operation begins. And that was exactly how she found Chief Emeka. Chief Emeka. Even his name sounded expensive. A very handsome billionaire who lived in a gated estate just 2 streets away from Simbi. How had she not noticed him before? He was tall, broad shoulders, and a neatly trimmed beard, with a confidence that did not shout but commanded attention. He was exactly her type, rich, powerful, very handsome and attractive, the kind of man that could fund soft life without blinking. But she had never seen him in person until that Sunday, the first Sunday of the year. Besties. Sempe always attended church every first Sunday of the year. It was her yearly ritual. And you want to know her mission? To ask God to forgive her last year's sin so they don't pile up, and maybe see if she could observe new prospects. She dressed carefully that morning, not too revealing, but looking so gorgeous. White fitted dress, subtle makeup, sweet perfume. When worship started, she lifted her hands, eyes closed, but not fully closed. One eye was slightly open, so no opportunity would pass by. Then it happened. A sweet, rich, mature perfume drifted into her nose. This one wasn't a small boy fragrance, not a regular Onitsha market scent. This was the kind of perfume that announces wealth. Her eyes opened fully and she turned slowly. There he was, Chief Emeka, dressed in richly embroidered agbada that looked like it cost somebody's rent, gold cufflinks shining, shoes polished like mirror, and holding hands with his wife as he walked in. The entire church shifted slightly, heads turned. Even choir masters adjusted their notes. It was not just Sempe that noticed. They both looked like money, like magazine cover. His wife Adiola was elegance itself. Bone straight hair that screamed authenticity. I mean, raw donor hair, not synthetic struggle. Her skin was glowing. Her jewelry subtle but expensive. Class written all over her. Sempe's brain began calculating immediately. Hair, expensive. Necklace, minimum 18 carats. Bracelets, custom. Handbag, imported. Car keys, visible, latest model. She inhaled sharply. Chai, this woman is lucky. Then, another thought entered quietly. How come I've never seen this man before? Her lips curved slowly. This year goes sweet though. Because if January start like this, imagine December. When offering time came, if you saw the way Sempe danced there, you would think she had truly given her life to Christ, fully. She spun, clapped, moved with energy. Even old women were staring. Is this not that husband snatcher Sempe? People were murmuring. But little did they know, our girl was dancing because she just landed a hot, fresh opportunity. Because from the moment that perfume touched her nose, Chief Emeka had already entered her target list, and she had never failed a target before. Sempe did not sleep properly that night. Immediately church closed, she began a quiet investigation. Not desperate, classy investigation. She did not ask foolish questions, she asked smart ones. Who was that man that came late with the agbada? Oh, that's Chief Emeka. The response always came with respect, the kind that carries weight. That man is blessed. He supports the church heavily. Every year he sponsors outreach. He even builds the children's wing. He loves his wife so much. He is such a family man. And he travels everywhere. Dubai, London, America, even Asia. Very humble, calm and decent. The praises were endless. Anywhere his name entered, it came with admiration. Sempe's eyes were shining quietly. Sempe Donhama. That was all she could think. With this one, retirement was near. In fact, this one was not even side chick level. This one was marriage material. If I enter this one, I will not leave. Marriage, straight. She was already imagining living in his estate. The trips, the lifestyle upgrade, the wife's position, everything. That night, she did not scroll Instagram for other targets. No need. She had found the main prize. Meanwhile, Sule had begun the main work. Once she sent the full name, Sule moved immediately. Within 24 hours, details started dropping. Chief Emeka, chairman of multiple companies, oil contracts, real estate mogul, import business, board member in 2 big firms, house in Lekki, Abuja, family estate in the village, 2 children, both in private schools abroad, married for over 12 years, clean record, no public scandal, no rumors, no known side chicks. The last part made Sempe smile even wider. Clean men fall harder. The next Sunday, she watched him carefully in church. Chief Emeka carried himself with quiet authority. When he walked, ushers adjusted. When he sat, people greeted respectfully. When he smiled, it felt controlled. His wife, Adiola, always sat beside him, soft smile, well composed, always holding his hand. From the outside, they looked perfect. Picture perfect. Church couple goals. Even when offering baskets passed, he dropped bundles without blinking. He stood during prayer and closed his eyes tightly. Very spiritual, very serious. If you did not know better, you would think he was heaven's assistant manager. Sempe watched everything. She observed how he spoke to elders, polite, how he touched his wife's back gently when she adjusted her seat, caring, how he carried himself with calm confidence, stable. Everything about him screamed control, success, power. But something, just something. When Adiola laughed, it stopped too quickly. When she smiled, it did not fully reach her eyes. And once, just once, as Chief leaned close to whisper something into her ear, her shoulders stiffened slightly before she relaxed again. It was small. If you blinked, you would miss it. Yet, Sempe noticed. But she dismissed it immediately. Nobody is perfect. She did not care about small cracks. She cared about the mansion, the money, the access. To her, he was the perfect man, wealthy, respected, family-oriented, spirit-filled, untouched. So, what more could she be looking for? Now, Sempe did not rush. No, she never rushed. Big men require patience. First rule of her game. Visibility without desperation. The following Sunday, she adjusted her timing carefully, not too early, not too late. Just enough to accidentally meet him at the entrance of the church. Well-fitted dress, but this time with a deeper neckline, not too much. Just enough to show a bit of flesh and create distraction. Her perfume, as always, fresh and steady. When Chief Emeka stepped out of his car, she was there, close enough to greet. "Good morning, sir." Soft voice, controlled smile. Direct contact, not shy, not bold, balanced. Chief paused, just for half a second. "Good morning." His eyes lingered slightly longer than necessary. "Such a beauty," he muttered. That was confirmation. The next week, she positioned herself near the aisle where he usually passed when offering time came. She danced, not wildly but gracefully, elegant movements, subtle waist shifts, soft laughter when someone brushed past her. Everyone was wondering why Sempe had been coming to church regularly, but no one dared say anything. Chief noticed her. He always noticed. After service, she accidentally dropped her phone near where he stood. He bent to help. Their fingers brushed. Electric. "Thank you, sir. You're welcome." And that was it. The hook had entered. Sule walked behind the scenes, business events, private dinners, charity galas. Sempe began showing up strategically, never chasing, always appearing. At a wine tasting event one evening, she wore red, a red gown that hugged her body perfectly. She stood by the bar, sipping slowly. When Chief walked in and saw her, he did not hide the recognition this time. "You again," she laughed softly. "It seems we attend the same circles." They talked, small at first, business admiration, church involvements, polite compliments. She leaned slightly closer when he spoke, maintained steady eye contact, smiled at the right moment, touched his arm lightly when laughing. And Chief began responding. At first, it was just longer conversations and personal jokes, then text messages. "How was your day? Did you get home safe?" Then, late night calls. "I can't sleep. I can't stop thinking about you." She knew that too. Operation Collect Him was progressing smoothly. Within weeks, the gifts began to flow. Designer bags. "Just something small for my girl," Chief said that evening. Then, transfers for your upkeep. Then, surprise deliveries, perfume, jewelry, cash. Chief Emeka was careful, but he was invested. He began creating excuses to step out. Business meetings that lasted longer, travel extended by one day, phone turned face down more often. And every time she saw his name flash on her screen, Sempe smiled slowly. She had entered his space, his mind, his routine. She felt powerful and unbeatable. And one evening, as he sat across her in a private lounge, watching her sip wine slowly, something changed in his eyes. It was no longer casual curiosity. It was possession. Interest had turned to desire. Desire had turned to fixation. The lion had really noticed her. But if only she knew. Now, besties, Chief Emeka was not who everyone thought he was. Outside, he was polished and generous. The kind of man whose name opened doors and whose presence silenced rooms. In church, he was reverent and composed, eyes tightly shut during prayers, hands lifted with convincing devotion. At charity events, he smiled for photographs beside his elegant wife. He spoke gently, laughed moderately, and moved with the calm confidence of a man who had nothing to prove. To the world, he was stability, respect, the model husband. But within the quiet, soundproof walls of his mansion, a different man lived. A beast. Adiola, his supposed beloved wife, was living in survival mode. She had mastered the art of smiling. Her expressions were no longer spontaneous. They were calculated. She knew exactly how bright her smile should be, and exactly when to lower her eyes. If she smiled too faintly at an event, he would accuse her of embarrassing him. If she smiled too brightly when greeting another man, he would accuse her of inviting attention. There was no correct version of herself that satisfied him, only shifting rules she had to memorize in order to survive. Chief Emeka was making her life a living hell, with endless beatings and torture. And it never happened in public, no. Chief Emeka valued his reputation too much for that. For anything she did that he considered an offense, he always waited until they returned home, until the doors were locked and the staff dismissed. Sometimes, the correction came as a sudden slap that echoed briefly before silence swallowed it. Sometimes it was a shove against the wall, his grip tightening around her wrist as he demanded explanation for the imagined offenses. He did not scream. He did not rant. His anger was colder than that. It was controlled, intentional. He called it discipline. The next morning, she would stand beside him again, dressed impeccably, her long sleeves hiding whatever marks the night had left behind. She would still accompany him to church, to meetings, to family functions. Observers often admired how inseparable they seemed to be. They interpreted his constant closeness as affection. In reality, it was surveillance. Chief Emeka followed her not out of love, but out of suspicion. He watched her carefully, afraid she might one day gather enough courage to speak or even run away. Over time, he began isolating her from everything that once felt familiar. Her friends stopped visiting, invitations dwindled, phone calls became fewer, monitored, sometimes abruptly interrupted when he entered the room. He controlled her schedule, her movements, her associations. Gradually, her world shrank to the size of his approval. Adiola had lost touch with everyone. Even her children were taken from her reach. He had insisted they be sent abroad for better education. But instead of being with her, they stayed with his mother overseas. The house grew quieter when they left, too quiet. The laughter that once filled its hall disappeared, replaced by heavy silence and polished floors that reflected nothing but restraint. Adela had tried to leave before. Once she packed a small bag late at night and attempted to slip past security, only to be stopped at the gates by guards who had already been instructed to report any unusual movement. Another time, she confided in a distant friend hoping for assistance, but Chief Emeka somehow found out. That evening was the one she would rather forget. He was not only wealthy, he was powerful. His influence stretched into business circles, religious leadership, political spaces. Staff were loyal to him. Security obeyed without question. He guarded his image carefully, and he guarded his wife even more carefully. To the world, she was cherished. Within those walls, she was contained. From the outside, the marriage appeared flawless. No one noticed the stiffness in her shoulders or the way her laughter ended too quickly. No one saw the hidden bruises beneath expensive fabrics or the fear that flickered briefly across her eyes when his voice dropped an octave. The picture was beautifully painted, every detail arranged, every crack concealed. And when Adiola lay awake at night staring at the ceiling of a house that felt less like a home and more like a cage, her tears never traveled beyond those soundproof walls. No one heard her cry. It did not take long. Chief Emeka had finally crossed the line he once believed he would never cross. What had begun as conversations and late-night calls had turned into something deeper, heavier, more consuming. Sempe's presence lingered in his thoughts long after he left her. He replayed her laughter, remembered the way she looked at him without fear, without caution, without calculation that he could detect. By the time he finally tasted her honey pot, he was hooked. It felt like something he could never live without. And once Chief Emeka wanted something, he did not do halfway. The apartment he had been renting quietly for their meetings soon became too small, too hidden, too temporary. He wanted her closer, within reach, under his control. Within months, Sempe's life shifted dramatically. She did not just visit the mansion, she moved in. Her dreams to become Chief's wife was becoming a reality. Officially, Adela was still the wife. Her name still carried the title, but inside that house, power had changed hands. Sempe's clothes began filling the wardrobes, her perfumes lined the dressing table. Her heels clicked confidently across the marble floors that Adela once walked as queen. The staff adjusted quickly, they always did. Sempe adjusted even faster. She woke up in silk sheets, ate breakfast served by house helps, drove out in the latest car Chief assigned to her. If she wanted something, she mentioned it casually and it appeared. Shopping trips became routine, not small shopping. Designer boutiques closed sections for her. Personal stylists attended to her. Chief would stand behind her as she tried on gowns worth someone's annual salary, watching with satisfaction as she admired herself in the mirror. "You deserve the best," he would say. Luxury dinners followed. 5-star restaurants, private sections, imported wine. Chief introducing her confidently in certain circles as someone very special. Trips abroad soon entered the picture. Dubai first, then Paris, then London. Sempe had never flown business class so often in her life. She posted carefully curated pictures, angles that did not reveal too much but showed enough to provoke envy. Soft life was dripping from every frame. Chai! Sempe was overwhelmed with joy. She felt chosen, elevated, and victorious. Every passing day strengthened her belief that Chief was her final stop, her retirement plan, her security. She was already mentally rearranging her future. If I secure this one properly, marriage, straight. She imagined wedding bells, imagined replacing Adiola permanently, imagined becoming Madam Chief. And Adiola, she was still there, not loud. Her movements were quieter now. She spoke less, but she observed. From the hallway, from the dining table, from behind composed eyes. Sometimes when she served tea, when the staff were busy. Sometimes she passed by while Simple laughed loudly in the living room beside Chief. To outsiders, it looked humiliating. The legal wife reduced to background, while the new woman shone. If only they knew what peace she had now. Sempe was too busy enjoying the glow to notice what was happening in the house. She thought she had replaced Adiola, but in reality, she had stepped into a position. And positions in that house came with conditions. With time, Chief's attention grew heavier. He wanted to know where she was at all times, who she was texting, why she laughed at certain messages. It started softly. "Who was that? Let me see your phone. Why did you take so long in the bathroom?" She brushed it off at first. Small jealousy, proof of love. Adiola saw it clearly. She had seen that pattern before. The first time it happened, Sempe did not even see it coming. It was an ordinary evening. They had just returned from dinner. One of those elegant rooftop restaurants, where the city lights glittered like diamonds beneath them. Chief had been attentive all night, his hand resting possessively at the small of her back, his voice low and charming. She had laughed freely, enjoying the stares from other women who clearly recognized him. That was a problem. One of those stares lasted too long. A man at the restaurant had greeted her politely when she excused herself to use the restroom. It was harmless, A simple compliment about her dress. She had smiled and said thank you before walking away. She forgot about it immediately. Chief did not. The ride home was quiet, not angry quiet, just still. When they entered the mansion, he removed his shoes slowly and loosened his cufflinks. She was still talking, replaying something funny that happened at dinner when he turned towards her. Who was that man? She blinked. Which man? The one smiling too much at you. She laughed lightly. Oh please, I don't even know him. The slap came so fast that she did not process it immediately. Her head turned sharply to the side. The sound echoed faintly against the high ceiling. For a second, everything froze. She touched her cheek slowly, more confused than hurt. Chief was breathing evenly, not shouting, not even raging. Don't embarrass me like that again, he said calmly. The calmness was more disturbing than the slap. She stared at him. You slapped me? And you wouldn't like to see what I would do next, he replied, already walking away. You need to understand boundaries. She stood there stunned, her cheek burning, her pride more injured than her skin. Hours later, he returned with flowers, softness and regret. I am sorry, I overreacted. I just don't like other men looking at what is mine. What is mine? The words settled somewhere deep. He pulled her into his arms, his voice gentle now. You know I care about you. She allowed herself to melt slightly, because it was just one slap. And he apologized. She still reminded herself that he was powerful, and he was her retirement plan. She had already given up too much to walk away. The next morning, she wore makeup carefully. Nobody noticed anything, but Adiola did. She saw the slight stiffness in Sempe's jaw, the way she avoided chewing on one side, the way she adjusted her hair more than usual. Their eyes met briefly at the hallway. Adiola did not speak. She didn't smile. She simply looked at Sempe, eyeball to eyeball. And in that look was something that felt almost like recognition. Sempe looked away quickly. She refused to attach meaning to it. It was just one mistake. Just one small correction. After the slap, something shifted. Chief Emeka did not become visibly violent overnight. He became more attentive. Too attentive. He noticed every little thing she did. He began asking more questions. Where are you going? Who are you texting? Why is your phone on silent? Why did you take so long just to take a shower? As usual, Sempe laughed it off. Are you jealous? She would tease. He would smile faintly. Of course I am. You are mine. The first time he said it, it sounded so romantic. The second time, it sounded firm. By the 10th time, it now felt like ownership. He started checking her phone. Let me see something. He would scroll through her messages, her call log, her social media DMs. If he saw a male name he did not recognize, his jaw tightened. Who is this? Just a friend. Block him. And she would, because it was easier than arguing. Soon, she realized she could no longer go out alone. If she wanted to see a stylist, he sent a driver. If she wanted to visit a spa, security followed. If she stepped outside the estate, someone always knew. Safety, he called it. Protection. But protection that does not allow breathing is not protection. It is control. One afternoon, She tried to step out without informing him, just to feel normal, to drive alone. By the time she was reaching the gate, security stopped her politely. "Madam, Oga said we should inform him before you leave." She laughed awkwardly. "It's just a drive. Sorry, ma." Her heart dropped slightly. He called her minutes later. "Why are you leaving the house without telling me?" "It's nothing serious, Chief. Nothing is nothing in this house." His tone was calm, too calm. That night, he did not hit her. He simply held her chin tightly and said, "I don't like being disrespected." She felt it then, the tightening, the invincible rope. The mansion that once felt luxurious now felt monitored. She noticed cameras she had ignored before. Hallways that seemed longer, doors that seemed heavier, and Adiola still silent, still observant. Their eyes met again one evening in the kitchen. This time, Adiola spoke softly. "He likes control." Just that. Sempe swallowed. "I can handle him." Adiola did not argue. She simply looked at her in a way that said she once believed the same thing. Days turned into weeks, and then months. Sempe was no longer blind at this point. She had started noticing the tension in him, the way his eyes darkened when she laughed too freely, the way his jaw tightened when his phone rang, and she picked it up playfully before handing it to him. But that evening, the beast did not hide. It was a small thing, something any sane person would easily let slide. She had taken a picture in the dressing room just for herself, a mirror selfie in a silk robe, nothing revealing, just soft and glowing. She posted it online with a harmless caption. Within minutes, comments flooded in. Fire emojis, heart eyes. One male follower wrote, "Any man would be lucky to have you." She laughed when she saw it. She should not have laughed. Chief saw it. His face changed instantly. No irritation, not jealousy. Rage. He snatched the phone from her hand and smashed it on the wall. It shattered. Before she could process what was happening, he grabbed her arm and pulled her so hard that she lost balance. "Who are these men?" he roared. His voice was not calm. It sounded like thunder. "They're nobody. It's just Instagram." The first punch knocked the air out of her. She stumbled backward, shocked. "You think this is funny?" he barked. She had never seen his eyes like that, wild, unhinged, foam almost gathering at the corners of his mouth. When she tried to step away, he shoved her into the wardrobe door so hard that her shoulder slammed against the wood. "You belong to me," he shouted, like an animal guarding prey. She tried to run towards the hallway. He caught her by the hair, dragged her back. Her scalp burned. She screamed. He slapped her again and again and again. Each strike landed with full force. "You will not embarrass me." She fell to the floor, dizzy, crying, pleading. "Please, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to." He kicked her twice. Then he stopped suddenly, breathing heavily and pacing around like a caged lion. For a moment she thought it was over, but it was not. She grabbed her by the arm and dragged her into the bedroom, threw her inside and locked the door from outside. "You will stay here until you understand who owns you." The lock clicked. Sempe lay on the cold floor shaking. Her lip was bleeding, her cheek swelling, her shoulder throbbing. She heard him downstairs shouting at staff to leave the house. Silence followed next. Hours passed. No one came. No water, no phone, just darkness and pain. For the first time in her life, Sempe was afraid. Not small fear, the kind that enters your bones. She crawled to the mirror suddenly, her face stared back at her, bruised, swollen, unfamiliar. This was not jealousy. This was not love. This was possession. And outside the door she could hear his footsteps, pacing occasionally like a lion guarding a cage. In the hallway, Adiola stood still. She did not move towards the door. She did not knock. She did not even intervene. She simply closed her eyes slowly, because she had heard those roars before, and she knew something Sempe was only just learning. Chief Emeka was a beast in a tailored suit, and now the beast had removed the mask. The second beating that followed that day was worse, much worse. By the time Chief Emeka returned that night, he was not angry anymore. He was dangerous. He opened the bedroom door slowly. Sempe had been crying for hours, her eyes swollen, her throat dry from screaming. The moment she saw him, she rushed forward. "Please, I'm sorry. I won't post again." Slap silenced her immediately. Not one, 3 in quick succession. Her head snapped sideways. Before she could regain balance, he grabbed her by the neck and shoved her against the wall. "You can't disgrace me," he hissed again. His grip tightened, her hair cut off. She clawed at his hand. He released her suddenly, only to drag her across the room by the wrist. Her knees scraped against the polished floor. He beat her without a rhythm, without mercy, punches, slaps, kicks. Her body folded in on itself as she tried to protect her face. "Please," she cried. But the man swallowed the sound. When he finally stopped, it was not because he was satisfied. It was because he was tired. He stepped back, breathing heavily, staring at her like she was something beneath him. Then, he did something that chilled her more than beating. He laughed, a low broken laugh. "You thought you won," he said softly. "You thought you replaced her? Nah, I know how to deal with girls like you." Her chest tightened. Replaced who? Before she could process it, he dragged her again, this time towards the storage room at the back of the hallway. He threw her inside, locked it, and stormed out of the house. The sound of the gate closing echoed like a gunshot. Silence followed, heavy silence. Sempe lay on the cold floor, shaking violently. 2 beating sessions in one day. Her lip was split. One eye was swelling shut. Her body felt like it had been thrown under a truck. For the first time in her life, she felt completely powerless. She crawled towards the door and began banging on it. Not small knocking, desperate pounding. "Adiola!" she screamed. Her voice cracked. "Adiola, please! Help me! Adiola, help me!" Her pride had dissolved. She banged harder. "Adiola, please help me!" Footsteps approached slowly, measured. The lock did not turn. Instead, she heard Adiola's voice from the other side of the door. It was calm, steady, and unshaken. "You wanted my rich husband." Sempe froze. Her breathing stopped for a second. "She wanted him so badly that it kept you awake at night," Adiola continued quietly. "You laughed when I cried." The silence stretched painfully. Simply pressed her forehead against the door. Please, I don't know. Adiola's tone did not rise. You wanted my rich husband, she said again. Now, you can have him. Those words hit harder than the punches. No, please, I don't want him anymore. I don't want him, you can have him, I just want to go. Simple slid down against the door slowly as tears poured freely. The kind of tears that breaks ego completely. For the first time since she stepped into that mansion, she understood this was not luxury. This was prison, and she had walked into it smiling. Outside the storage room, Adiola stood still for a long time, not celebrating, just listening. Because inside the house there were no winners, only survivors. And tonight, the replacement had finally understood what she had replaced. By the third day, Simple was no longer thinking about luxury. She was thinking about escape. Chief had returned from wherever he went as though nothing had happened. He brought her food, unlocked the doors, even spoke to her gently. That frightened her more, because now she understood something dangerous. His calm was temporary. She began watching the house carefully, studying routines, security shifts, driver movement. One afternoon, when Chief left for a meeting and the gates briefly opened for a delivery truck, something inside her snapped. This was her chance. She did not think. She ran, barefoot, heart racing. She flew down the staircase, past the living room, past the dining area. The staff froze in shock. She pushed the side door open and bolted towards the gate. Stop her! Chief's voice thundered from behind. He had not left. He had been in his office upstairs, watching. Security hesitated for only a second before grabbing her. She struggled wildly. Let me go, please. Her hair came loose. Her robe slipped off her shoulder. She felt like someone drowning. Chief walked towards her slowly. Take your hands off her, he told security quietly. They released her. That was worse. She tried to run again, but he caught her before she reached the door. His grip this time was brutal. You think you can leave me? He growled. He looked like a demon, possessed. He dragged her back inside, ignoring her screams. The staff disappeared immediately. Nobody wanted to witness what was coming. Inside the living room, she broke free briefly and grabbed the edge of a glass center table to steady herself. Big mistake. Chief picked up one of the heavy crystal decor pieces from the table. It was thick, sharp-edged, expensive. He did not even hesitate. The strike came fast. The glass connected with the side of her face. For a split second, she felt nothing. Then warmth, wetness, burning. She touched her cheek slowly. Her fingers came back red, blood, thick and pouring. She screamed like a wounded animal. Chief stared at her, breathing heavily. Now, no one will look at you, he said coldly. She fell to her knees. The pain was blinding, blood dripping onto the white marble floor. Her perfect face, the face she worshipped, turned open. The staff finally rushed forward with towels, panic in their eyes. Chief stepped back, calm again, as though something inside him had been satisfied. At the hospital, the doctors worked quickly. The cut was very deep and required stitches. The swelling reduced after days. The bruises faded slowly, but the scar remained. Very thick scar. It stretched from the edge of her cheekbone down towards her jaw. a permanent mark, the kind makeup could never erase. Sempe stared at herself for a long time. This was the face that stopped traffic. This was the face men fought over. This was the face that made wives cry. Now it carried a reminder of foolish confidence. Beauty had been her weapon. Now it was wounded. She lifted her trembling hand and touched the raised line on her skin. And for the first time since the story began, Sempe felt really small. Meanwhile, while Sempe was counting stitches and staring at her ruined reflection, Adiola was counting something else, evidence. For years, Adiola had prayed quietly, God, give me a way out. She had learned something about monsters. You do not fight them with shouting. You fight them with patience and silence. Long before Sempe entered the mansion, Adiola had started preparing. It began small. A hidden voice recorder tucked behind the bookshelf in the sitting room. A second device slipped into a flower vase near the dining area. Later, the street camera was installed. Under the excuse of extra security, Chief had approved them himself. He loved surveillance. He never imagined it could turn on him. The house cleaner, a quiet woman who had worked in that mansion for years, had become Adiola's silent ally. Not out of hatred, but out of witnessing too much. She had heard the screams, seen the bruises, watched the pattern repeat. When Sempe arrived, Adiola did not see her as an enemy. She saw her as a distraction, a window to her freedom. Because Chief's obsession shifted. His focus moved the moment Sempe entered, and in that shift, he became careless. He raged louder, spoke more openly, threatened, without lowering his voice. Every slap, every roar, every confession of control were captured, recorded, and stored. When he struck Sempe with a glass, the camera in the corner of the living room saw everything, clear and undeniable. The blood, the words, now, no one will look at you. Adiola did not rush to use it, she waited. Because leaving a man like Chief Emeka required precision. One mistake and he would destroy everything. She contacted a lawyer quietly. Through an old university friend Chief had long forgotten. Evidence was copied, backed up, sent abroad, stored in multiple locations. By the time Sempe was locked in the storage room crying for help, Adiola had already moved beyond survival. She was building a case. Sempe, swollen and scared, had unknowingly become part of the evidence, part of the exposure. One evening, while Chief was away, Adiola entered the room where Sempe lay, staring blankly at the wall. She did not mock her, she did not smile. She simply placed a glass of water on the table. Rest, she said quietly. Sempe looked at her with confusion. Why are you helping me? Because I know what he is. There was no rivalry left, just shared understanding. Adiola turned and walked away slowly, her steps steady. For the first time in years, she was not merely enduring, she was planning. Chief Emeka loved control, but he loved money even more, and the money required movement. A week after the glass incident, he announced casually at dinner that he would be traveling abroad for a brief business meeting. 3 days, he said, slicing his stick calmly. I expect peace in this house when I return. Sempe felt fear. Adiola saw an opportunity. The moment his car drove out of the estate and the gate shut behind him, something in the air shifted. The mansion no longer felt like a lion's den. It felt like a door had finally been unlocked. Adiola did not rush. She waited 2 hours, confirmed through contacts that Chief's flight had taken off. Then she walked into Sempe's room. Sempe was sitting quietly by the window, her scar still visibly clear, her confidence completely gone. Adiola stood in front of her. "This is your only chance," she said calmly. Sempe looked up slowly. "What do you mean?" "I have evidence, recordings, videos, everything he has done to me, to you." Sempe's eyes widened. "You recorded him?" "For years." There was silence. Then Adiola leaned closer. "I can get you out of this house, but I need something in return." "What?" Sempe swallowed. "You will testify against Chief in court." The weight of that request hung heavy. Sempe's first instinct was fear. Chief Emeka was powerful, connected, and dangerous. "He will destroy us," she whispered. Adiola's voice did not shake. "He already tried." Another silence followed. "There is no fear in trying again. We know that if we both keep quiet, we will die here, and that would be worse." Then, something inside Sempe hardened. She touched the scar on her face slowly. The permanent reminder. "I will testify," she said. That was all Adiola needed. Within hours, the process began. The lawyer was alerted, copies of recordings were sent, again and again, secured in multiple locations. Senior trusted police officers were contacted discreetly. When Chief Emeka's plane landed overseas, he received a message. He was under investigation. He was still trying to understand what was going on when another message followed. Policemen had arrived at his mansion. By the time he called home, the house was no longer his stage. Officers were already inside, collecting devices, reviewing footage, taking statements. Sempe gave hers first. Her voice shook, but she did not stop. She described everything she had been through in the house, the beatings, the lockups, the threats. She showed them the scar. Adiola followed, years of silence poured into structured testimony. Calm, clear and detailed. The divorce papers were filed immediately. Not quietly, publicly. Because secrecy was what protected him. Exposure would destroy him. News began to leak. A respected church donor under investigation for domestic abuse. A business mogul facing assault charges. The same people who once praised him now avoided his name. By the time Chief Emeka boarded a return flight, thinking it was something he could easily handle, his control had already slipped through his fingers. He arrived not as a lion returning to his territory, but as a suspect walking into scrutiny. For years he had hunted, controlled, intimidated, guarded his image carefully, but this time, the image had cracks, real documented one. As the police escorted him for questioning, as cameras flashed outside the mansion, one truth settled heavily in the air. The hunter was now the hunted. Weeks later, the courtroom was full before the judge even entered. Journalists, church members, business associates, curious strangers. Everyone wanted to see the fall of a man who once stood so tall. Chief Emeka walked in wearing a dark designer suit, his face calm, posture straight. If someone did not know what was happening, they would think he was attending a board meeting. But today, he was not the chairman. He was a defendant. The same hands that once dropped heavy offerings into church baskets now rested stiffly on a courtroom table. And across from him sat 2 women, one he had married, the other he had claimed. Both no longer afraid. Adiola testified against him first. She described years of isolation, beatings, control, surveillance, threats, with dates, incidents, and locations. She explained how she had tried to leave, how her children were taken away from her. The recordings were played. His voice filled the courtroom. Gasps spread through the room. Church leaders lowered their heads. Business partners stared at the door. The perfect image cracked publicly. Then it was Sempe's turn. She stood slowly. The courtroom grew quieter. Her scar was visible. She did not cover it. She couldn't even hide it. I thought I was winning, she began softly. She described the jealousy, the first slap, the punches, the lockups. The night he had dragged her by her hair, then the glass strike. When the video of that moment played, the room shifted. You could hear the crystals smashing, hear his voice. No one will look at you. Silence followed afterward. Chief's lawyer tried. They argued provocation, emotional instability, jealousy, manipulation. But evidence does not panic. The courtroom was already tense. Adela had testified. Sempe had testified. The recordings had been played. But then, Adela's lawyer stood up again. There is one more matter, he said. The room grew still. A file was placed before the judge. A name read aloud, Chidinma Okafor. Former house help to Chief Emeka, reported to have disappeared 3 years ago. At the time, the story had been simple. She stole money and ran away. Case closed. That was a story the public knew. That was a lie money bought. But money cannot erase blood. The evidence began to unfold slowly. Hospital records that never matched the resignation story. Security footage from that night. Footage Adela had secretly backed up before it was deleted. Audio recordings of shouting, screaming, then silence. Adela had kept everything. She had been too afraid to speak back then, but she had preserved the truth. The prosecution revealed that on the night Chidinma was accused of theft, Chief had been drinking heavily. An argument broke out in the kitchen. The girl denied stealing anything. Chief did not believe her. The audio played. His voice was unrecognizable. It was wild, enraged, threatening. Then a crash. Then a scream that ended abruptly. Security footage showed him dragging a body down the hallway. Later that night, a private vehicle left the compound. The next morning, Chidinma was gone. No police reports, no missing person announced. The prosecution's final blow came when a former driver testified under oath. He had driven that vehicle that night. He had been paid handsomely to stay silent. The girl had been taken to a remote clinic first. She was already dying. The wound was deep. Chief had stabbed her chest with a knife. She did not survive. The body had been moved again, buried quietly outside the city. Money changed hands. Threats were issued. And the story became theft and disappearance. The courtroom felt heavy. Even Chief's lawyer struggled to breathe. They didn't see this coming. Chief Emeka's face, once composed, now looked hollow. For years, he had walked freely, donated in church, shaking hands, hosted dinners, all while carrying murder inside his walls. When the judge delivered the verdict, there was no softness. He was guilty of murder, guilty of aggravated assault, guilty of unlawful confinement, life imprisonment. The words echoed, life. Handcuffs clicked around his wrist. This time, there was no dignity in his posture, just shock, real shock. He looked towards Adela and Sempe, but they both didn't look away. They didn't even flinch. He was led out of the courtroom, not as Chief Emeka the billionaire mogul, but as an inmate, his number waiting to be assigned. Outside, the news exploded. The estate he once dominated whispered differently now. He had ruled his house like a kingdom. Now, he would rule in a cell. The lion had not just fallen, it had been caged for life. Simbi Street had not seen Sempe for months. When she finally returned, it wasn't with loud music or new car, it was quiet. The same duplex still stood there, but the aura had changed. No more late night laughter, no more mysterious SUVs pulling in, no more dramatic fights at the gate. Sempe had learned her lesson and she walked differently now. The wound on her face had healed, but the scar had not disappeared. It stretched across her cheek like a signature she did not ask for. Even makeup can't soften it, and neither could time. People stared when she passed, not because she was dazzling, but because they remembered. Now, she walked. Yes, walked. A small fashion business, nothing too loud. Just honest hustle. After the court case, Adela had given her some money to start up something for herself. She opened early and closed late. She no longer scrolled endlessly, hunting for targets. She had lost the taste for hunting. The women on Simbe Street still whispered, but the whispers had changed tone. She has suffered. She has learned. One afternoon, as she stood outside her shop arranging mannequins, a familiar woman passed by jokingly and said, "Ah, Sempe, you know one collects person husband again." The street went silent for a second. Adela had moved away quietly after the divorce. She started over in another city and had taken custody of her children. No drama, no interviews, just peace. As for Chief Emeka, his name slowly faded from admiration to cautionary tale. In the prison, there were no chandeliers, no control, no soundproof walls, just concrete and consequence. And on Simbi Street besties, life moved on. But whenever a young girl boasted loudly about using beauty to climb through married men's pockets, someone would shake her head and say softly, "Go and ask Sempe." Because one day, Sempe found exactly what she was looking for, and it nearly destroyed her. Hey besties, we've come to the end of this amazing story, and I hope you enjoyed it as much as we enjoyed making it. I would love you to share your lessons and your thoughts in the comments section. And I want to thank you all for loving and supporting me. It means so much to me. Right now, I have to go and see you in our next story. Bye!
Gather round the fire, children, and all. Come hear a tale that's yet to be told. Epic tales by Mara's voice, of tricksters, queens, and lovers' joy, where trees can talk and spirits roam.